Some traits are determined by a single pair of alleles, but this is rare. Most traits are determined by several genes. Examples include height, intelligence, skin color, and psychological disorders. Genes do not provide a script for behavior. They control the production of proteins. It's through the actions of these proteins that our neural activity is made possible. Throughout the semester, we will often look at twin studies when trying to determine the importance of genes and environment in a psychological disorder. For example, out of 100 people who are twins and have depression, how often will their twin also suffer from depression? This helps us figure out the heritability of a condition. Heritability is the percentage of variation in a characteristic that is due to genetics. It's calculated by comparing the concordance rate for identical and fraternal twins. So we're going to hear a lot about concordance rates. Identical twins share 100% of their genes. Fraternal twins share about 50% of their genes. For a genetically caused trait like hair color, both twins will have the same hair color about 100% of the time. The concordance rate for hair color would then be 1. When we look at concordance rates for a variety of behavior or like biological conditions, we see that the concordance rate for identical twins is less than 1. This tells us that genes alone do not cause the condition. Now we can also compare the concordance rates for identical twins with fraternal twins. If the rate for identical twins is much higher, we can conclude that genes are an important factor, since identical twins are generally the same. When we compare the identical twin concordance rate with the fraternal twin concordance rate for autism, we can see that the identical twins have a much higher concordance rate, suggesting that genetics plays a more important role in the development of autism. Now, when we take a look at, say, alcoholism in females, we can see a different pattern, right? The difference between identical twins and fraternal twins in their concordance rates is not that big. And this suggests that genetics is not as big of a factor in alcoholism in females. In contrast, in males, it's a little bit bigger. So how do we interpret what we know about the heritability of psychological disorders? While there's a certain amount of heritability, what we see in almost all cases is that there's an interaction of genetic and environmental influences. Nature and nurture, not nature versus nurture. We can think of it in terms of vulnerability. Having more genes for a disorder reduces the threshold required to produce it. Most scientists reject the nature versus nurture concept. Gene and environment interactions will be a major theme of this course. We'll see how genetic vulnerability interacts with environmental factors to make a disorder more likely to develop.